Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to NEWSROOM. I'm your host, Omar Khalid. But today is Monday, the 29th of April 2024, and these are the stories that we will be highlighting in the course of our show. We'll begin with the visit of our Prime Minister, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, along with the delegation to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, not only to attend the World Economic Forum, but also to highlight Pakistan's priorities on the sidelines in different meetings on the occasion of the World Economic Forum. Now, these meetings have held immense importance as far as Pakistan's perspective is concerned, whether it be as far as Pakistan's economy is concerned, boosting Pakistan's economy and economic cooperation with different countries is concerned, but also to highlight Pakistan's point of view on different important matters such as Palestine is concerned. Many important meetings have been held, and we will be highlighting those during the course of our first segment. And of course, this World Economic Forum has also ended, and the last session was also addressed by our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, in which he highlighted the fact that the world will not be in peace unless there is peace in Gaza. He talked about the Ukraine war. He talked about the devastation caused by climate change, standing on our own 2 feet, and the austerity measures and other important matters pertaining to the world and to Pakistan. This is going to be our first segment. Then we are going to talk about day 206 of the Israel-Palestine conflict, and we will talk about the casualties that have surpassed 34,400, and those who have been injured have surpassed 77,575. At least 34 people have been killed, 68 injured in the last 24-hour reporting period. A lot of optimism, or let's put it that way, cautious optimism exists as far as some kind of a deal between the Palestinian and the Israeli sides is concerned. There are talks that are going on as we speak. Will there be any positive headway? That is only time that will tell. On the other hand, Anthony Blinken, who's also in Riyadh, along with other leaders, have also pressed for the end to hostilities and moving forward for a sustainable peace in the region. This is an important development as far as the whole world, whether it be the US, whether it be the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or other important countries that are there, France or other important countries also that have highlighted the same perspective as far as the Middle East is concerned. Will there be any positive headway as a result of the World Economic Forum or other such fora or the peace talks? That only time will tell, but we will be highlighting that in our second story. Then we will be talking about countrywide anti-polio campaign that has begun all across Pakistan starting from today. This is to immunize more than 24 million children under the age of 5 in Islamabad, Punjab, Sindh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. And of course, the polio teams, as they always have been doing, they will be going house to house to administer the polio drops to the children. So whenever they do ring, and if your child is not immunized, kindly assist the polio teams to have your child immunized. Finally, we'll be talking about China that is going to send a mission to Moon's far side. A lot of curiosity has developed across the world, and a lot of competition as well as to which country will be the first to go to the far side of the moon, which country will lay its blame or lay its foot, let's put it that way, as far as the moon and the exploration of the moon is concerned. Now, China is going to send a robotic spacecraft in the coming days. This is going to be a round trip to the moon's far side in the first of 3 technically demanding missions that will pave the way for an inaugural Chinese crewed landing, which means including astronauts, and a base on the lunar South Pole. Will it be China that will have the first base on the lunar South Pole, or will it be another country? Well, we are here to give you all the details regarding that. Let's begin with our first segment, and that concerns our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, our Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar, and an entourage that also consists of Mr. Aurangzeb, who's our Minister for Finance, who are in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They have taken part in the World Economic Forum. This is a special meeting on global collaboration, growth and energy for development that is being held. Of course, today is going to end in a few moments. This was being held since the last 2 days in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And of course, many important meetings on the sidelines were also happening between our leaders and other important global leaders. To talk more about that, we've been joined by 2 guests in the studio. We've been joined by Dr. Khalid Waleed. He's an economist. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, and welcome to our show after a long hiatus. And online, we've been joined by Faheem Al-Hamid. He's a Saudi analyst, and he also joins us to give us his perspective on these whole talks. Let's begin with Dr. Khalid Waleed. Khalid, Shehbaz Sharif Saab landed in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia along with the Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar Saab on Saturday to attend this World Economics Forum's special meeting on global collaboration, growth and energy. Of course, this was an invitation that was extended by this Saudi Arabia's Prime Minister and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and the WEF Executive Chairman Professor Klaus Schwab. This is our Prime Minister's second trip to Saudi Arabia in less than a month. How important will be the outcome of all the discussions that have been going on since the last 2 or 3 days?
Well, if you see the main theme emerging from World Economic Forum, those are inclusivity, growth and energy, and lastly coordination. Taking these three themes in context, Pakistan's Prime Minister's visit to Saudi Arabia would bring these three themes to Pakistan in terms of addressing Pakistan's economic turmoil. That is not just the economic turmoil, it is energy turmoil, it is environmental turmoil as well. So taking lead from that, Pakistan does need some inclusive approaches so that Pakistan not only cater for economic growth but an equal or inclusive sort of economic growth powered by clean energy, development linked with clean energy, and then coordination between economic economy side, energy side and environmental side. That would be very important for Pakistan. Just to elaborate more on coordination sort of thing, this visit of Prime Minister will bring more economic opportunity, energy opportunity and investments in terms of climate finance that would not only bring inclusivity in Pakistan, inclusive growth, but also direly needed finances to Pakistan's economic landscape. That would not be only G2G finances but also private investments that can cater for Pakistan's energy needs, Pakistan environmental needs and Pakistan's economic growth need. That would be more inclusive, not just economic growth that would benefit industrialists or one segment of the society. That would be balanced growth across the sectors and across the income quintiles in Pakistan.
All right. Faheem Al-Hamid, thank you very much to have joined us. Now, this is a very important move that has happened in the last 2 days in Riyadh in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And of course, there are many important leaders, whether it be US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, our own Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Palestinian leaders, high-ranking officials from many countries, in which the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia calls for regional stability, warns of the effects of the ongoing attacks in Gaza on global economic sentiment, and many other important highlights that have been part of these 2 days of meetings of different important world leaders. What have been and can be, in your point of view, the potential effects of the ongoing discussions on the situation in the Middle East, on climate change, on economic prosperity, and on all the different reasons due to which the global economy is under turmoil?
Well, thank you very much for CTV for hosting me. In fact, brother, let me give you just, a sum up what happened in very short 1 minute. How Saudi Arabia is repositioning not only itself but with Arab and world Islamic world leaders. In fact, Saudi Arabia has started our Crown Prince the initiative of zeroing the Middle East crisis in the region by having diplomatic relations with Iran. You might ask me what this has to do with what's going on. When the Saudi initiative is to stabilize the region, and we have a peace in the region, because without peace we cannot have prosperity. Without peace we cannot have investment. Without peace, people cannot enjoy their life as the American nation and European nation. Unfortunately, this 17th or the incidents happened in Gaza, and the war which has been carried out by the occupation, Israeli occupator against the innocent people. And, things have come to the 0 point where the international community kept silent, watching the massacre and the biggest, human tragedy in the history of this mankind. Now, what is Saudi Arabia is trying to achieve? We are having now the World Economic Forum. Yes, the Gaza issue is not being solved. So how we can solve the Gaza issue? Saudi Arabia tried it. There is from on and off ceasefire. They are trying to let the relief material come to inside Gaza. Pakistan tried, Arab states tried, Muslim countries tried, but there is still, there is no permanent peace in Gaza. What Saudi Arabia is now working on three directions. The first direction that, okay, let's go to the 0 point where we can have peace in Palestine, where we can have, recognition, a Palestinian state recognition, and having, the resolution of the United Nations, and also the Arabian Initiative, which gives Palestinians the right of self-determination, the right to have their own state, and the right to live as any other country. So if Israel accepts this, then we can talk. We can talk about normalization. Saudi Arabia, neither Saudi Arabia nor any Arab or Muslim country will go with diplomatic relation with Israel unless there would be a permanent peace which reflects the desire of the Palestinian people. So Saudi Arabia now trying to move from this way, from this angle. Parallel, Saudi Arabia would like also, under the prevailing situation, the ongoing financial crisis, what's going on in the world, the recession and this and that, would like to invite, has invited the world leaders, has invited the Islamic leader. And when we speak about Islamic leaders, we speak about Pakistan, our ally. In fact, the Prime Minister of Pakistan has visited Saudi Arabia. In Ramadan, I was there also, and there was an announcement, the first package of 5 million. This visit, it has its own different view investment scenario, where the Prime Minister the Pakistani Prime Minister has put his case, the future of Pakistan, how Pakistan would like to deal with IMF, how Pakistan would like to move to bring stability in Pakistan. So once Pakistan has stability, there will be an investment environment. So importance of the visit of the Prime Minister comes that, it is an opportunity, historical opportunity for the Prime Minister to speak to the world leaders about new Pakistan, the new vision, how Pakistan wants to go ahead in the next 4 to 5 years.
All right. Kindly stay online with us, Faheem Al-Hamid. We will continue our discussion with you as well. We've got another guest in the studios. Dr. Waleed, now you've just heard what Faheem had to say as far as Pakistan-Saudi Arabia relations, as well as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's point of view as far as Palestine, as well as far as regional peace and economic stability is concerned. Now, the Foreign Office, when our delegation left for the Kingdom, said that these WEF, World Economic Forum discussions, will be related to trade investment measures, new investment frameworks, restructuring of supply chains, sustainable growth, and the energy landscape. The Foreign Office also said that the high-level participation of the forum was an important opportunity for Pakistan to present its priorities, specifically in global health architecture, inclusive growth, revitalizing regional collaboration, and the need for striking a balance between promoting growth and energy consumption. Has Pakistan succeeded in doing that?
Well, Pakistan should succeed into achieving this goal, because given the Pakistan geopolitical position, where Pakistan has China on one side, Central Asian republics on one side and Middle Eastern countries on other side. If you see the developmental need of these two regions, you will see that China has growing population. On the other side, Middle Eastern countries, they have food insecurity sort of situation. Pakistan can be a buffer state. Pakistan can be a place where the corporate farming and other sort of investment projects can be started and financed using the technology brought in from China under CPEC and bringing the finance and energy from Middle Eastern countries. Pakistan can provide opportunities in terms of trade because Pakistan has manpower that can be trained and building the capacity of that manpower. Pakistan can export corporate farming goods towards Middle Eastern countries, bringing energy for Pakistani economy, and then utilizing from the building on the experiences coming from China and technology coming from China under CPEC. Pakistan can be this strategic sort of link between these two regions, Middle East and Central Asian republics and China. That could be beneficial not for the Pakistan but the regional peace and prosperity as well.
All right. Wonderful. Mr. Faheem, last question for you. How do you view the whole context of Pakistan-Saudi Arabia relations in the wake of the World Economic Forum, in the wake of the recent visits of our Prime Minister to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? This is, of course, his second visit in a month to the Kingdom. And also, he has also secured assurances on investment from the Kingdom and has won plaudits from hosts who have dubbed him as a man of action. How important is action in order to further strengthen the relations that exist between both countries, and also to bring in as much investment as possible from the Kingdom in different spheres in which discussions are already going on between the two brotherly states?
Yes, let me assure you that this relationship is time-tested. Governments are going, government is being elected, interim setup is being done. But our relationship with the people of Pakistan and our relationship was always as high as the sky with the legitimate government. Now, Pakistan has a legitimate government. Pakistan has elected government, which is being recognized by worldwide. Saudi Arabia, if you felt or feel, since the Honorable Prime Minister takes over, the series of visits, high level, high profile visits, is within 3 months. This is the second high level visit by the Prime Minister, and also immediately after the visit of the Prime Minister, a high powered delegation consists of several ministers visit Pakistan. And with the announcement of the first, package of investment of $5 billion, I can see a lot of, scope of work, not only in investment. Pakistan, as I told you, we're in need for peace. People of Pakistan would like to live as the American nation. So when the government will bring peace, investment will follow. And this is the Saudi Arabia would like to reflect its word with action. So we are having not only in the investment and economic and trade level, we are having also in the defense level, we are having in the military level, we are having on the political level, and also we are having on the level of OIC. Pakistan is one of the main countries in the Muslim states. Saudi Arabia is the guardian of the two holy mosques. I can see that, with the passage of time, Pakistan will return again as strong as before to lead the Muslim world with the patronage and the blessing of Saudi Arabia. And they will be not only, strengthening the geopolitical relationship, but they will move towards finding out solution for the Palestinian issue, for other issues, because both countries would like to have peace, peaceful coexistence, moderation, and we want to live and let others live.
Thank you very much, Faheem Al-Hamid, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the importance of the relationship between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, and how both the countries want to further solidify and strengthen this relationship in different spheres. And of course, an example of which is all the meetings that our Prime Minister and our Deputy Prime Minister have had in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, and also the important points of views that Pakistan has highlighted during the course of the World Economic Forum. Thank you very much, sir, to have joined us. Let's come to you, Dr. Waleed. The Prime Minister has had many important meetings, whether it be with the Emir of Kuwait, whether it be with the Malaysian Prime Minister, whether it be with the President of the Islamic Development Bank, whether it be with the MD of IMF, whether it be with Bill Gates, and many other important Saudi leaders as well. If I were to summarize all of it, how important were all of these different meetings, A, to not only highlight Pakistan's points of views on the regional, domestic and economic front, but also to look for further avenues to strengthen relations?
Well, if I were to summarize this, I will say this is a right direction effort from Prime Minister, the government of Pakistan, in terms of reorientation the financial flows from Middle Eastern countries and other regions towards Pakistan, because the landscape of the world has drastically changed. Now we need more innovative sort of economic planning going on, so that is more coordinative, that is more innovative, and that is more people-centric sort of thing, in which we build the capacities of our youth and or of manpower, and then we sort of have this balanced sort of growth, economic growth. Just to give you one example, Pakistan's economy heavily rely on remittances sent from the Middle Eastern countries.
True.
If we sort of capacity build or manpower in a way that is more aligned with the needs of economy of Middle Eastern countries, that those remittances can be doubled, tripled, and that could help Pakistan a lot. Secondly, Pakistan needs financial investment in terms of building capital intensive sort of industries in Pakistan, because given the nature of Pakistan's labor abundant or labor intensive sort of economy. So that will require not only investment flows generated from other countries, but motivating private sector as well. And these sort of interactions are, I would say, multi-direction interactions by the Prime Minister that will create confidence in the market, that would attract more and more private and public investments, particularly within Pakistan and outside Pakistan, and that will generate more financing for Pakistan. That would be a catalyzing thing for Pakistan's economy.
Let's talk of financing for Pakistan. In a meeting with the Saudi Commerce Minister Majid Al-Kasabi today, of course our Prime Minister was there in the one-on-one meeting. The Saudi Commerce Minister says Pakistan is the kingdom's priority for investment and trade as per the directives of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And the important role of the SIFC was also highlighted during the whole course of the meeting. This was not the only time the SIFC was mentioned. How important is the role of the SIFC to further the trade ties or the economic ties between the kingdom and Pakistan, as well as other countries in Pakistan? And how do you see this new avenue or this new turn of the kingdom in order to prioritize trade and investment relations with Pakistan?
Well, in terms of establishing investment climate or bringing more financial investment into a country, I believe that there are 3 C's that need to be taken into account. First is the credibility. Credibility of a government, credibility of state, with how much credibility they can enforce the contracts, or the contracts are safe between state and the investors. Second is the consistency, that the policy consistency, and third is the confidence in the market. These 3 C's are very important for economy in terms of attracting more and more investments, particularly from foreign investors. SIFC play a pivotal role in establishing these 3 C's. First, by providing a one-window facilitation center, establishing the credibility. Second, through SIFC's status or apex sort of body, the consistency of the policy. Thirdly, using this forum, the coordination and the confidence in the market that is direly needed for Pakistan. So in those three C's, the SIFC's role would be pivotal, particularly coming IMF program that would be very helpful in sort of devising structural sort of planning in Pakistan and restructuring of those SOEs, and then bringing more and more investments, particularly generating from Pakistan, within Pakistan, public investments plus private investments, and then the foreign investments.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Khalid, Waleed, leading economist, to have joined us and to have talked to us about the opportunities that exist between the kingdom and Pakistan, and of course also the investment climate in Pakistan, and what we are expecting in the coming days and weeks. Thank you very much to have joined us. Let's come to our second story, and that concerns the day 206 of the Israel-Palestine conflict. A lot has happened. 34,400 plus people have been killed, 77,575 plus people have been injured. The number of casualties keeps on increasing. There is some kind of a hope as far as the talks between the Palestinian and Israeli sides are concerned, but what will happen only time will tell. Also at the World Economic Forum, Palestine was one of the highlights that was being discussed, whether it be by Anthony Blinken, who's there, or whether it be by other leaders. Also, the fact remains that a lot of pressure is being mounted on Israel to not go with the Rafah ground invasion, or to dilute the level of the invasion whenever it happens. We've been joined by Nader Alturk. He's a deputy head of mission of the Embassy of Palestine, Pakistan. Thank you very much, Brother Nader, to have joined us. Brother Nader, I'd like to begin with the casualties as far as Palestine is concerned. We are day 206, 34,454 of our brothers and sisters have been killed, 77,575 have been wounded. The state of the hospitals, the state of the land in Gaza, and the general state of affairs in Palestine does not show an optimistic outlook at all. Then to add to that, the thousands of people who are still buried under the rubble, we have to know how many are present there. Majority of them are women and children. And then to add to that, the thousands of Palestinians that are there in 19 prisons in Israel as well. When is the point? What is the tipping point for Israel to stop? Or is there no point? There's no level at which Israel will not stoop to continue with its violence in Palestine.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to be your guest tonight. Actually, the Israelis' plans still as it is, that they are planning to transfer Palestinian people outside of Gaza. 2.3 million Palestinians are in danger, need to be, according to Israelis' plan, to be displaced to Sinai in Egypt, from there to other countries around the world. According to that, the genocide of Israeli genocide against our people continued by killing more and more Palestinians, destroy all the infrastructure, destroy about 75% of Gaza buildings, destroy most of the schools, all the universities, more than 32 hospitals out, 36 hospitals destroyed in Gaza completely, because they want to make Gaza a place don't have any kind of support for living for the Palestinians in the future. This is the Israeli plan. This is going to be end and stop when the international society, Muslim Ummah, all human beings deal with what happened in Gaza in the same way how they are dealing with Nazi against the Jew. This is what is needed actually, by taking Netanyahu, his government, all the Zionist leaders, to deal with them as a criminal, war criminal, need to go to be in the jail as soon as possible. Then the war going to be end, and create a campaign against the Americans, Germans, French, British, who are supplying more and more weapons for the Israelis. A few weeks before, the American Congress decided to give $26 billion to Israelis, 17 billion of it going to be more weapons and more bombs to be used against the Palestinians and kill more and more Palestinians, people in Gaza and all of Palestine. This needs to be ended as soon as possible by Bashar, and keep the Americans under Bashar to stop supplying more and more weapons for the Israelis.
Brother Nader, are you optimistic to any level as far as these latest talks between Israel and Palestine are concerned? Egypt's foreign minister says he is hopeful about this new proposal for a Gaza truce. Are you hopeful as well?
I'm always optimistic because we believe as a human being that the darkness hours in the night, it is the hours before the dawn. So the dawn is sooner, inshallah, in Palestine and for the humanity. What happened right now around by the movement by the American students, who start speaking about the Israeli occupation, not speaking about the occupation that started in 1967. They are speaking about the establishment of Israel as a state, as occupation state, came to displace the Palestinian, occupy their own territories, and build their own country from nothing, came from nowhere in the world, destroying the Palestinian land, looting their properties, and establish their own state over the Palestinian territories. This is a huge change happening right now, because this student, they're going to be the future, the next leaders of the Americans, next Congress members who are going to rule the situation in the United States of America. This is a huge change happening right now, make me not only optimistic, but make me believe and sure that this change will start and will never stop.
All right. Now, Brother Nader, you talk of the students in the United States of America. Around 900 plus students have been arrested so far from different universities, but that hasn't stopped them from continuing with their protests. The number of universities, all the big universities in the US are now having protests. Not only in the US, these protests are also happening in Australia. These protests are also happening in one of the biggest universities in Paris, in France. And they are all demanding one thing, that these atrocities end, that there be peace between in the Middle East, and all the solutions that have been put on the table be implemented in letter and spirit. I'd also like to refer to what Anthony Blinken said at the World Economic Forum, that there must be a post-war plan for Gaza that looks at security, governance and humanitarian reconstructions, and that without a real political horizon for Palestinians, it is going to be harder, if not impossible, for a coherent plan for Gaza. My question is twofold. Firstly, you talked about the impact of the students' protest in US and also now in other countries. What is going to be the long-term impact? Because it reminds me a lot of what happened post the Vietnam War, that also pressurized the US to end its war in Vietnam. Secondly, what Anthony Blinken has said at the World Economic Forum, does it hold weightage in your point of view? Is the US now inclined to move more aggressively in order to go towards some kind of a ceasefire and ultimately towards a solution to this issue?
First of all, brother, what happened right now by the student of United States of America and the other Western countries show that the people of this country start understand that their country is actually not ruling by them, not ruling by the Western democracy. It is actually ruling by Zionist capitalism, Zionist movement against their own interest. When we are speaking about the Americans are facing an economic crisis, and they are facing a huge problem even for their health care and all these things for their people. With that, they have the time and the money to support occupation, Israel's occupation against the Palestinians by giving more and more weapons. This shows their own people that their democracy was stolen by the Zionists. And that's why this student strong protesting against the Zionists, because they are believes that Palestinians are their brother in humanity. One of the students asked one of the American university president, how you are looking for the Palestinians? They are human or not? He was afraid to answer that question, because if he answered yes, then he will ask him why you are supporting the Israelis. And he said no, then he asked him, what are you supporting the Israelis and looking for them as a human animals or what? Both answer was going to make him in difficult situation. This is first. Second, Mr. Blinken, until now, he's still telling lies only, because when we see the Americans' foreign policy in the progress, we see when 12 members of Security Council of United Nations agree to give the Palestinians full membership of the United Nations, the Americans use veto, which means when they are speaking about two-state solution, they're only telling lies to buy more time for the Israelis to continue their occupation, continue their settlements in Palestinian territories, letting more and more Palestinians land to build more settlements and killing more and more Palestinians and give them time to displace Palestinians outside of their territories like they are having before in 1948. What we are waiting from the Americans, first of all, end their supplying weapons for the Israelis, and supporting Israelis blindly in the United Nations, stop using veto, stop using all their power in favor of the Israelis and in favor of the occupation, following the international rules, following the international law, by supporting the right of the Palestinians to have their own independent state according to international resolution 181, 242, 338, and all other resolutions, and 233, 34, 67 over 19, all this resolution need to be aware on the ground and supported by the Americans, not only blindly supporting the Israeli occupation against the Palestinian rights.
Brother Nader, the United Nations Mine Action Service estimates that 37 million tons of debris has littered the streets of Gaza. This is going to take more than 10 years to clear up. This includes 10,000 unexploded ammunition, according to Federico Desi, who is a humanitarian and inclusions Middle East director. Also, it has been said by the senior officer at the United Nations Mine Action Service that it will take 14 years to clear the Gaza rubble. Unexploded ordnance, if we take 100 trucks to clear that. Does the world realize the damage that has been done as a result of this war?
Actually, brother, even today, the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia mentioned that we need 30 years to rebuild Gaza and make reconstruction to Gaza. We are optimistic, only we need to end this criminal war against our people, establishing Palestinian state, and we are sure by hand, we're going to rebuild Gaza as soon as possible. If the international community, the human beings are united in favor of Palestine against the Israelis, against the Zionists, against the occupation, against the Americans leaders who are supporting the Israelis, to establishing Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital, Gaza going to be rebuilt sooner, and I think the Chinese companies and other supporters of Palestine are ready to rebuild Gaza in very short time if the Israelis don't create problems with the Americans against our programs to reconstruct and rebuild Gaza again.
Brother Nader, there's another thing that accompanies this whole barbarity and this violence that has been going on since the last 206 days, and that is the grabbing of the land, whether it be in Gaza or whether it be in the West Bank. An Israeli settlement watchdog, Peace Now, says this year has already broken a record for the most land grabs, which often lead to the expansion of settlements. 10,971 dunams of land in the occupied West Bank have been seized in Israel this year alone. And they say that most of this land that is seized is then used for Israeli settlements. How can one put a stop to these illegal land grabs?
By activate the International Resolution 2334, which was taken by Security Council in 23 of December 2016, which is said that the Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, of Palestinian occupied territories, it is illegal and it is need to be released and transfer the settlers outside of Palestinian territories to live in the Israeli territories. This is the only way. The problem that if we are the deal of the sanitary, which was created by Mr. Trump in 2017, he tried to make this settlements legal in a legal way against the international rule. We hope so that the Americans become wise and following the international rules, international law, by end settlements and end the plan to support for the Israelis. Because the Israelis plan is still as it is. They like to displace Palestinian people in West Bank, Gaza Strip, include Jerusalem, even the Palestinians who are holding Israeli citizenship. We speak about almost 2 billion Palestinians are living in the border of Israel and doing Israeli citizenship. They like to transfer all of them because Israel was establishing with a huge lie that Palestine it is a land for people without people, for people without land. So their dream and their plan still as it is to displace the Palestinian, transfer of the Palestinian and replace them with Israeli Zionists and Israeli settlers.
Brother Nader, also the United Nations Secretary General spokesperson says that it is important that all the forensic evidence be well preserved from the mass graves that have been discovered in the Al-Shifa and the Al-Nasir hospital. 392 bodies have been discovered in these mass graves. Will a proper investigation be held? Will Israel be held accountable?
Actually, brother, the bodies was founding more than 400 until now. And if you remember, on 7th of October, the Israelis started their criminal war against the Palestinians because they said that the Palestinians killed 1,200 Israelis and killed 40 children. If we are seeing the bodies, most of these bodies are for women, children, and civilians people. And the Americans and the Western countries and the international organization didn't take a step in giving us the right to defend ourselves. And they didn't mention until now Mr. Netanyahu and his criminal government, Ben Gvir and Smotrich, and their Israelis army as a criminal of war criminal, and need to be arrested by any state they're going to visit, including the United States of America. This what need to be done to end what this happened, because what happened right now in Gaza is genocide, ethnic cleansing against any kind of human rules or principles. According to that, the international community need to mention this Israeli's leadership as war criminals, need to be arrested in any country they visit. This is what we are waiting for them to do. Same that we are doing for the Nazi leaders who are killing many many Jew and many other ethnic groups in Europe. This is what needed to be done as soon as possible.
Thank you very much, Nader Alturk, Deputy Head of Mission Palestinian Embassy, to have joined us, to have talked to us about the latest as far as this conflict, this war, this genocide, this ethnic cleansing, this war against humanity, war against humanity that has been going on since so many hundreds of days, and not much has been done. Let's remain cautiously optimistic for a future that will be bright for the people of Palestine. Thank you very much, Brother Nader, to have joined us. Let's come to our last. Let's come to our last stories. The first concerns the polio campaign that has been launched all across Pakistan to vaccinate 24 million plus children in different provinces of Pakistan, including, of course, our federal area, Islamabad, 10 districts of Punjab, 24 districts of Sindh, 26 districts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and 90 districts of Balochistan. The polio teams will be going house to house in order to administer polio drops to all the children who are below the age of 5. This is all being done in order to completely remove all traces of polio from Pakistan, because as per we speak, Pakistan and Afghanistan are the only two countries in the world who still get polio positive samples, and that is why the government is doing its level best in order to remove all such percentages who could even have a trace of the poliomyelitis virus, or who could be affected by the samples of a poliomyelitis. This is what we need to do, and the public also needs to cooperate with all the polio teams in order to administer the polio drops to their children. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, China will send a robotic spacecraft in the coming days on a round trip to the moon's far side in the first of 3 technically demanding missions that will pave the way for an inaugural Chinese crewed landing and a base on the lunar south pole. Now, this of course this is a whole continuity of the Chinese mission that began with the first Chang mission in 2007, and in 2020 China brought back samples from the moon's near side in the first sample retrieval in more than 4 decades, and now this week China is expected to launch Chang 6 using the backup spacecraft from the 2020 mission and collect soil and rocks from the side of the moon that permanently fades away from the Earth. There's a lot of competition between different countries as far as who will be the first in order to bring those rocks from the far side of the moon, and as long as the competition remains healthy, we are all to see how this moves along and how we also better understand what the moon is all about, and whether the big question whether there was life at any time on the moon as well. Therefore, any scientific discovery is a discovery for the future of mankind. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with new segments and news that pertain to us, you and Pakistan. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.